one of his projects that he was doing, it was not completely completed. I told him I wasn't paying him one more dime.
She paid me as the work was being done. Every indication of her being totally satisfied with everything I did. This is nonsense.
Yes, it is nonsense.
This is totally nonsense.
This man ruined my life.
It ruined your life?
Yes, you did. With the
Stop it! You're ruining my life.
I live with my parents. I let him live there for about 4 months free of rent. My mother comes to me screaming, he needs to pay half the rent. We have a freeloader living with us.
Plaintiff Kathleen Cruz says the defendant's work caused her to break her leg, and then he didn't finish the job. She's suing for $5,000 for construction repairs. Defendant Spencer Wilner claims it's not his responsibility to pay for another contractor's work, and he owes nothing.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. This is case number 163 on the docket, Cruz versus Wilner.
Okay. We have the plaintiff, Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
You are suing the defendant, Mr. Wilner, for a breach of contract.
Yes.
Okay, why don't you tell me your side of the case?
I hired Mr. Wilner to do some work around my house, to do like vinyl siding, a new back porch, which led into other, projects that he was to do. In the process of one of his projects that he was doing, the back porch he did, it was not completely completed. Therefore, when I came out and I went to step down onto a step, as I stepped down and raised the other leg, I guess with the board that did not have support under it, it kind of sprang. It snapped my femur bone.
She told me that she fell off the porch and it was nothing to do with the construction I did.
But let me just say, without trying to settle the back porch thing, that what relevance does it have to this? You're not suing him for that.
No, it's all combined as far as his character for the type work he did.
Let's move on to this particular case.
I never said I fell off the back porch. I said I stepped down. As I raised the leg, it snapped. I then went ahead and went down. In the meantime, as time went on, I was in the hospital, came out of the hospital. We had already been talking about previous other projects, such as a new driveway, a new carport, and a new sidewalk in the front.
If you are unhappy with what he did, with you falling off the step or whatever, stepping down, why would you hire him to do the next project?
It's something where, so far from a distance, things were looking okay. It wasn't until after the accident had happened that then going back and then having even my own kids.
So in hindsight, you started to think, well, maybe I shouldn't have.
Then I started seeing and be a little bit more observant of things.
Okay, let's go now. Yeah, let's go now to what you're suing for here.
I'm suing for the damages that he did by not completing a job, the second job, and that's in the driveway.
It says in your complaint that he was hired to build a sidewalk, driveway approach, and carport.
No. He was hired.
That's what you wrote.
He was hired to do a driveway, which includes an approach.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So it's the whole thing. He actually indicated is that, okay, he gave me an estimate for the driveway, sidewalk, and porch. But then when everything came around for the inspectors to come out and did not approve because it was not done properly, the approach, then it was, well, I didn't include that in the estimate, but I can do it for this amount of money extra. And I'm thinking, why would it not be included in an estimate? Because when you give an estimate for a driveway, you need the approach. So I told him I wasn't paying him one more dime because I'd already given him $9,000 to do a job, and you could not see $9,000 worth of work that was done.
She paid me in installments, Your Honor. $9,000 she paid me as the work was being done.
Yeah,
She was every indication of her being totally satisfied with everything I did.
And what did you do?
Landscaping, I did the digging, I did I rented equipment, I laid out all the forms and everything for the driveway. I set the posts for a carport. I set the forming up for the sidewalk that she wanted. And we went ahead and submitted a set of plans to the city prior to all of this. Now, if you let me back up just 1 minute.
Yeah.
The plans that we submitted to the city, I have right here.
Yeah, let me see those.
Show no driveway approach, Your Honor.
Did the plaintiff understand that the plans that you were submitting and what you were charging her did not include a driveway approach.
That is correct.
No.
Yes, your
No.
estimate does not include a driveway
No.
approach.
Yeah,
The
it may
estimate I
not.
gave you, which I have right
Yeah.
here,
Your
does not
Honor,
include no driveway approach.
If you hire somebody to put a driveway in your place, are you gonna say put a driveway, then how are you gonna get from the street to the driveway? Because you have to have an approach.
This is nonsense.
Yes, it is nonsense.
This is totally nonsense.
It's
You've been
sad
nothing but a
that
pain in the
you-
ass.
He put me in a
Okay.
very bad situation.
Excuse me, Your Honor, I'm
that is
sorry.
unsafe.
Second.
Ma'am, hang on,
Unsafe.
the judge is speaking.
I'm sorry.
You thought, which is reasonable as a consumer, that when this work was going to be done, it would include it. You may not have looked very closely at the plans.
This man ruined my life in more
I'm
ways
not
than one.
talking about that.
It ruined your life.
Yes, you did with the
Stop it. You're
The judge
ruining
is
my
speaking.
life.
She's tried to ruin my
Judge,
business.
Stop it.
My business is my life.
You drew up plans,
Yes, sir.
and you submitted them to the city, and the city approved it.
Yes.
Okay, that's that. You were thinking that what was approved by the city included the path to the driveway. So you both were thinking different things. No one was trying to be a crook at this point. So that's where we are without the name calling. Now, the inspector comes and looks at your work.
He failed the inspection
You failed the inspection.
Yes.
Why did you fail the inspection?
because the driveway approach was not done according to the regulations. It was done according to the plans that I submitted that they approved and issued a permit for.
So what you're saying is that the city or whoever was in the office that day
Your
approving it.
Honor, I would really like to show you pictures to show about how I mean, it's all one piece. It's not driveway
Let me see.
approach. This is the driveway. Down here is the approach as you pull into the driveway. It's not two separate pieces.
Where does the planned examiner come into this operation?
no,
Act?
he's
You had
the
a man that examined
he's
these
the-
plans and
he is the
issued that
inspector
permit.
told you
That
you
is the
did
one
not
that's
know
at
what
fault.
you were doing.
That is the
You
one that's
came
at
out
fault.
here to build.
Ma'am, do not go back and forth with the defendant. Speak directly to the judge.
He came out and he expected to do a country driveway in the city limits. Anybody that has done any kind of contracting work at all is gonna know, country, they don't give a damn. City, you have code compliances.
This letter from the building inspector does say, on July 17th, this inspection failed. The forms were still not properly tied to the city roadway. The homeowner requested that we talk to the contractor about these issues so the job would be done to meet city code. And that's reasonable. If the inspector is coming out and saying this is wrong, she wants to know why. She's not a professional. She wants to know why.
I understand.
The call was made, and during the conversation, the contractor explained he typically worked in the county and was not familiar with building code within the city. So it was explained to him in detail. So this is what would have to be done. Now, having said that, for your defense, having said that, he comes back and says, okay, if that has to be done, that's obviously additional work, and we need to be paid to do that.
Forget the approach, just the driveway. He didn't even do the driveway according to what he said he would do in his own submissions for estimate.
You didn't even let me finish the driveway.
He left me
You-
in a bad situation with the fact of this approach. I had a broken leg from this back porch, a bad hip. We couldn't even get in and
Okay.
out of my house because I had a ramp here and he had it all torn up with this driveway, and then he had the sidewalk all torn.
How else
There's
are we
even
gonna do
Okay,
this?
pictures-
okay, those are different issues which are separate
Okay,
suits.
stick to the driveway. Right here in this, he said, I'm coming with the front end loader and the rebar, which is what you put in driveway. He never did. He hand scraped it with a
We came out with equipment and
then he put
oh,
hog
no,
in
Your Honor,
it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, here's the deal. You paid him $9,000.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Do you see $9,000 worth of work in those pictures that I just gave you?
Well, you're asking me, and I
Just in
wouldn't
a
know what
driveway.
any of this cost. That isn't the point. He didn't finish the job, and you don't want him to finish the job. If you had paid $13,000 and it was incomplete, then I would say right off, hey. But if you're paying him partially so far, you paid him $9,000 and you want that money returned. But
Yes.
the point is, if you're not going to let him finish the job and you're going to take money to hire someone else to complete the job, it's not his responsibility to let you have money to hire someone else.
But would you let him finish if you're already seeing he's not even doing what he said? I mean,
it isn't a completed job, but you only paid him $9,000 so far.
He didn't even do what he was supposed.
Okay, I don't know why we're arguing.
Why did you pay me then? Why did you pay me if I didn't do?
Judge Jerry.
If you had paid him the full amount, and then you show me these pictures and say, look at this, you got a case. But I don't know. Maybe at the end, the final thing that he does is going to make it all look really pretty and good and structurally right. You can make a decision for the rest of the way to hire someone else. But if you're stopping him in the middle of a project for whatever your reason
I
is...
didn't stop him.
Well, you know, you're not paying him to complete it.
No, I didn't stop him for that. He got stopped
hired
because
somebody
the
else.
approach failed.
And he is now prepared to do what the city is telling him he should do, and he's got a plan on how to do it. I'm not saying you should hire him, but for what he did, which isn't the completion of the job, because you don't want him to complete it, and you didn't pay him the full amount, which I'm not saying you should have, you didn't, you can't now ask him to give back what you already paid. In your suit for $5,000 return on work that he did, yes, give me that.
Thank you. This is the statement from the contractor that came in and completed everything from beginning to end the correct way.
You can have 10 different contractors give you 10 different opinions on 10 different estimates on 10 different jobs.
I told you I wasn't eating this approach alone, buddy.
Everyone
You
will have a
turned around and
different
walked
cost.
away and looked at it like, oh, I'll do it for this, for more money, for more money.
Okay, you had experience with him. In fact, you admit that you weren't happy with the experience. Yet you're an adult, and you did decide to hire him. You have to bear, each of us bears the consequences for the decisions we make. Often, we buy a product and it turns out to be a lemon. Often, we get someone to do some work and we're not happy with it. That's the risk of hiring someone. But you made the decision to hire him. You're not paying him the full amount because he shouldn't get the full amount because you don't want him to complete the work again.
No.
And so therefore, based on your suit to get your money back, I have to dismiss that suit.
You may have to sit.
He must just be a better liar. You know, must have just been able to win him over. It doesn't matter. It's over.
This woman has just been nothing but a problem for me, and she's tried to slander my business. It's a good thing she got what she deserved.
Plaintiff Wayne Kress Jr. is suing his former wannabe rock star friend for crashing at his place and not paying rent. He's suing for $200. Defendant, Stephen Rubinosky, claims the plaintiff offered to let him stay for free while he was on tour. He says he doesn't owe rent.
Truth and nothing but the truth. Case number 198 on the docket. Kress versus Rubinosky.
Okay, welcome to you guys. We have the plaintiff, Mr. Kress. You are suing what it says here, your former best friend, Stephen Rubinosky, for $200 for 2 months' worth of living expenses.
So, Your Honor, Stephen Rubinosky was a friend. So he tells me that he's going on Ed Sheeran's tour. See, whenever he told me that, I thought he was opening up, like he's gonna be big and stuff. Finds out that he's pretty much just like on the corner playing his music. So while he was on tour and stuff like that, he would also be living with me whenever he'd come back.
Oh, okay.
So I let him live there for about 4 months free of rent.
Yeah.
I live with my parents, so I paid about $650 for the rent. My mother comes to me screaming in Scottish Gaelic, he needs to pay half the rent.
Is she upset that you have a friend there, or is she upset that he's not paying?
That we have a freeloader living with us.
Well, you have testified on your own that you invited him to stay with you.
I did.
That doesn't make him a freeloader. You invited him. Was there any discussion about what he would pay for living there?
My mother wanted half the rent, so I came to terms $100 a month.
But when he first moved in, you didn't say, here are the conditions. You can stay with me, but it's going to be $100 a month.
Not at the beginning.
You didn't say that at the beginning.
Not at the
okay.
beginning, Your Honor.
All right. So when he moved in, he thought he was getting to stay with you for free because you were a nice friend. It was a nice thing you did. No
Yes, Your
one's
Honor.
condemning you for that.
I had the intention of not really having him pay rent at all.
Right.
I didn't mind him staying.
Exactly. And so you're here now because it, as you were saying, it builds up in expenses, the utilities are higher.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you're suing him for $200 because you want him to pay for 2 of the months he was there.
The 2 of the months that he was there, and he said he would pay me.
From the beginning, I texted Wayne and I said, hey, I'm going on Ed Sheeran's tour. I followed his tour, which meant that I performed outside each stadium in each city. I drove to each city, made some friends, fans with my signs, my merchandise. I just needed a place to crash close to the city, to the highway. And Wayne was a good buddy of mine, so I was like, hey, can I stay with you? And he was like, yeah, sure. So yeah, I followed his tour.
Well, I admire your going out and doing something with your music, and,
Thank you.
and that's
Thank you.
cool. I won't make fun of that. You know, young people do that, and that's great. I hope you're successful with it. But let's get back to the lawsuit.
When I first started staying with Wayne, I was under the expectation I was going to be living there for free, 100% free. You know, we weren't really, talking about that. As far as the $200 goes, took him and all my friends out to a concert, took us to Denny's afterwards, paid for our food, took us out to a bar, bought everybody a round of shots. I thought I made up for the $200 as far as that goes.
Okay, without legally, just the nice thing to do, you
Sure.
stayed there for free.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
I agree.
pay him what he's asking.
You see,
That's the nice thing to do. Legally, you're on weak ground here because you can't afterwards say, by the way, I know you stayed in my house and it was great and all that, but I'm going to need $100 for every month you stayed.
I actually have the text messages, if you would.
Yeah, I'd like
take
to
them
see
up.
them.
But yeah, the text messages saying like, I'll throw you a bone, I got this coming up.
Okay, so first you are texting Wayne and saying, hey, can I come crash at your place? And he said, yeah, that's fine. You can bring some,
Yingling, Your Honor.
was that a beer?
Yes, Your Honor, it's a Pennsylvania beer.
On the way back from Detroit, still cool to stay at your place? No problem. I got your back, man. Thanks again, dude. I appreciate this is a lot. Laugh out loud. That's LOL, right?
Getting good, Judge.
Yes, you got it, Your Honor.
Getting good.
Let me explain why I have difficulty with these text messages. See, I don't get text messages because
You're not supposed to show people that, Judge.
oh, and now this is in December, so this is several months later. You're saying, hey, man, I'm not asking for much here, but you've been staying here for months. Mind helping out with rent and stuff? And you said, I'll try to throw in some bones and whatnot when I can. I'll definitely pay for my stay the next few months, and I'm not taking advantage of you. Okay, so he says for the next few months he would be willing to. How long did you stay with him after that?
Just until the end of January.
So you kind of agreed at that point that you would pay him. You did agree to pay him $100 starting for the month of January. So
Yeah.
therefore, I know you sued for $200. You have to pay him $100 for the month of January. This court fines for the plaintiff in the sum of $100.
Maybe we can rekindle what happened.
Through everything, he's still one of my best friends.
Thanks for watching. Now please approach the bench. The way I look at it, you have 2 options here. Option A, watch more Judge Jerry. Option B, watch more Jerry Springer. The choice is yours. Now get out of my courtroom. You have more clips to watch. And don't forget to subscribe.